see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining in.
Well, good morning and welcome to episode 878 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and it's March 9th, 2026. This morning I'm enjoying a fresh cup of light Guatemalan from foodforestfarms.com because life's too short for shitty coffee. At Food Forest Farms, your beans are roasted by real human hands using a clean stream air roaster. More than just a customer, your family. Get 10% off with code LOTS10. That's LOTS10. And shipping is always free. While you're there, check out the C4 Club for even more awesome perks. Today got another big show, cabin progress updates from this week, a major purchase to help future projects, signs that spring might be arriving, and plenty more randomness along the way. Grab your coffee, smash that like button, and let's get started. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? It's been a good week here. The weather has definitely popped up, and haven't had a wood stove fire in a while. I know Corey said, I think last night she said coming up next week maybe, or in the next few days, we're going to have a couple more wood stove fires just in the morning because it's supposed to get chilly overnight and not get too warm during the day. But recently it's been good weather. I think spring is definitely on its way, but I don't know. Last few years here, we've come to realize there's been spring and false spring and restarted spring and on as it goes. So we will see how it goes now. Good morning, Digger. Thanks for stopping in. Good morning and happy time change. Oh, time change. Mike's Homestead, good morning to you. How's it going? Thanks for stopping. Time change. Yeah, it was time change this weekend. Was it overnight Saturday into Sunday morning was spring forward, so we lost an hour. I'm sure I'll get sick this week. It just it never fails, the changing and the sleeping patterns. It doesn't matter if it's spring or fall either, even just the getting the extra hour of sleep, but everything being off, and my body just reacts to it funny, and I end up getting sick almost every year. Usually more often than not in the spring, and then yeah, it happens in the fall too. But anyway, daylight savings time change on Saturday night. Corey and I did our annual tradition, or semi-annual tradition. Biannual? I don't know. What is 2 times a year? Biannually. We watch the Slam and Salmon, the movie by the guys that did Super Troopers and Beer Fest, and that whole bunch did a movie called Slam and Salmon. Also had the guy from the Green Mile, the big black guy, the prisoner from Green Mile, and what else was he in? I can't even think of it now. But anyway, good movie, and they have a running joke line through it, the whole movie, about daylight savings. So we end up watching that and joke about it and watch it a couple times a year, and well, we watch it more often than that, I would say, but definitely try to make time on daylight savings every time to watch it. So if you haven't seen the Slam and Salmon, you should check it out. It's a goofy comedy, and you got to be in the right mood, I guess. But I'm always in the right mood for that kind of movie. So anyway, let's move on. Bitcoin guessing game contest. It's 6:05 on March 9th, 2026. 6:05 March 9th, 2026. Bitcoin price currently is 67,562. 67,562. Let's get to those guesses from this week over in the Telegram chat. If you'd ever like to participate in the Bitcoin price guessing game, you can head over to t.me/lotschat, t.me/lotschat, and apply to join the group, and then you can find the Bitcoin guessing game and guess away. Winner gets absolutely nothing, but we'd like to get bragging rights for the week, and it's a good time anyway. So let's start from the top. My guess, 69,696 is the same. I kept it the same as the last few weeks. I'm not bad. I'm only about 2,000, a little over 2,000 off, so not a bad guess. Not a bad guess this week's. John Palmer way high again. I don't know what that guy's getting high on, but his price guesses are way high. John Palmer 76,543. I see what he did there. 76543. Blueberry Texas in with 73,000. Scrambling, last week's winner in with 72,400. Thesia Ellis 71,500. Chris Dixon 70,680. Everybody thought she was going to bump up over 70, and this week it did for a while. But then I think it was yesterday, day before, she dipped back down. Most of those guys had a pretty good chance earlier in the week. But the winner this week, and not too far off, let's say about 1,000 off, just about 1,000 off, Canadian Farmstead, the guy that has more Bitcoin knowledge than anybody I know. Absolutely just a phenomenal, brilliant mind in the Bitcoin space. Canadian Farmstead in with a guess of 66,500. Winner, chicken dinner. Oh, wait, no chicken dinner. Congratulations, Canadian Farmstead, with the win, 66,500, only about 1,000 off. Next week, if you want to guess, you can get in over at the Telegram group. My guess for next week, I'm going to change it up. We're going to change the color. We're going to change the guess. I'm going to go with, excuse me, 72,654. $72,654 is my guess for next week. If you'd like to get in on the game, head on over to t.me/lots chat. That's t.me/lots chat. Great group of folks over there. We have a good time during the week, talk about all sorts of different topics. Always a good conversation going on. So head on over there and join us. Gotta get some coffee here. This daylight savings, it's rough. I feel I woke up this morning. Yesterday we got to sleep in a little bit. The dogs. So the dogs get up. One of our dogs, the one scratching right now that's shaking the whole camper. He likes to get up with the sun. So luckily with daylight savings, he still likes to get up with the sun. So it helps a little bit. But man, we got to sleep in a little bit yesterday. No alarms. We had some stuff we wanted to get done out at the property, but it was supposed to be rainy in the morning, and with the time change, we decided to just leave the alarms off and get up. Had a slow going morning. It wasn't horrible. This morning I feel beat. The alarm went off to do the show, and I was like, oh man, this isn't good. And it'll probably spin out to about the end of the week before that happens. But anyway, get a little of this light Guatemalan in me, and it should help a little bit, perk me up. What are we talking about today? Today we're going to talk a little bit about the cabin progress we made from the week. We had a good week. Busy week, lots of running around. So I think last week we talked about finishing the windows, finishing the steps on the one side of the cabin to get up onto the covered porch, and the fact that we were then needing to build a small platform. Well, we had gone back and forth whether we wanted to build a small deck for monetary reasons, just a small little deck to get to the door, or if we wanted to put what we wanted long term on that side of the house. We really end up wanting a 10 by 20 deck on that side of the house. If you've been to the lumber store and you want to buy lumber, it's quite expensive to build a 10 by 20 deck. So we opted for the smaller one. We opted for one that will be serviceable for, probably a couple of years at least, hopefully. Put that up, and the reason we have to do that now is we need to install our other exterior door. And with the deck, I guess it wouldn't be the deck, the floor of the cabin being about 4 foot off of grade, installing the door would be rather difficult on ladders and things, and the scaffolding we borrowed to do the windows, which worked great. It was a lifesaver, the scaffolding, installing the windows up in the air like that. But the scaffolding was too high. It's too tall and not adjustable down any further than where we had it to install the door. So we were either going to have to rig up some sort of platform to stand on, or in the end, we were going to have to put some sort of steps and deck there to make the door functional. So we figured, why not now? Serves both purposes. We get it out of the way, we get it off the checklist, and it'll aid in installing the door. So we settled on the small deck, 8x8 ish. If you've ever built one, you know you got to frame it out a little bit different. I guess we could have done exactly 8x8, but we didn't want to cut as many boards, so we I think it ended up being 8 foot 3 by 8 foot. Got that started. Actually, earlier in the week, I had to go make a material run. Had to get it in the back of the truck. All the material we've been getting for the cabin, so it's been a big struggle, and I'll talk about this in a little bit with the new purchase we made. But getting material, A, into the build site, and B, transporting it from wherever we're getting it has been a struggle since we started this project. We didn't have a trailer. We didn't have a trailer. So surprise, what that big purchase was. But it was a lot of transporting in the back of the truck, borrowing people's trailers, friends or acquaintances' trailers, or getting things delivered. And we had done a little bit of all of that. But it was always just a hassle. Always just wanted to go pick it up on a trailer. Transporting it in the back of the truck is fine and all. We do have a topper on the back of our truck, which makes transporting of a lot of things kind of tough. And it is a shorter box. I think it's like 6.5 foot box. So any long material hanging out on the tailgate, it works. It does make me nervous transporting it around here with all how rough the roads are, and the age of my vehicle, and I'm waiting for the day that the tailgate drops when I got a load of lumber in there. But anyway, I was able to go get the lumber to get started on the deck. We were doing it freestanding. We didn't bury posts. We used deck blocks. So I had to pick up a bunch of gravel. We made gravel pads for each of the deck blocks, and then set the posts with those. So I was able to buy the posts and the 2x. What did I go with? 2x8s. I think we went with 2x8 for the framing on the deck. But I bought enough material for the posts and the framing and the floor joists for the deck. Material still needed was material for the steps and the decking. But I didn't know how far we were going to get this week. Corey had one day. She had Thursday off, I think. And then Saturday we were busy, and Sunday was supposed to be kind of rainy. So wanted to get the material up there. Thursday we were going to put a longer day in, or a decent amount of day, get out there early and stay as long as we can before we had to get back to do our normal evening routine. So I got that material up. I think that was on Monday or Wednesday. Must have been Wednesday, and holy shit, it was a lot of unloading. I think I ended up getting a couple dozen 2x8s and 10 4x4s and a shitload of bags of gravel, and just unloading it. And I realized a few days later when I touched my shoulder cap that I had been carrying all that stuff on my shoulder. Like, pick it up, carrying a couple 2x8s at a time and slap it on the shoulder over and over and over all day. And I was like, holy crap, why does my shoulder hurt so bad? I thought I injured myself. But I realized it was just bruised and tender from carrying all that shit on top of it. But anyway, got that unloaded. Thursday, Corey and I headed out, and man, we did pretty good. We got a ton done. We got basically all the gravel pads dug out, excavated, and then repacked in with the gravel. Got the blocks set where they needed to be. Got the posts set. Got the framing done, other than the joists, and yeah, really happy about it. And so wrapped up on Thursday. Friday, Corey had to work, and then Saturday we were busy. Sunday, yesterday we got back out there for, it wasn't a whole lot of time between daylight savings, sleeping in, and then a rainy morning. We ended up getting out there a little later, but we knocked it out. We got to a point where we've done everything on the deck that we could with the material we had. So basically, I got to make another trip for deck boards and step material, and then we'll be done with that and be able to move on to getting that exterior door finish. So really excited with the progress we made this week. Corey was a huge help. Huge help, as always when she's out there. Multiple hands are better than me trying to do things myself. But yeah, we got that deck started, and I don't think it'll be more than another day, maybe 2 days. I don't know. She's got extended time off this week. She took a little mini vacation here in this week, so we'll get materials bought up and knock that out. Hopefully, get that deck done, get the door in, and then we'll be moving on to I think the next step would be trimming out with metal. That'll be exciting. So progress update. Other than that, a little bit of a downer on the cabin. We ran into our buddy that has been doing our driveway work, been doing our dirt work with the skid steer and stuff. Yesterday he was out and just kind of visiting out. Got talking to him. Hadn't seen him in a while. Hadn't heard from him, which isn't unusual down here in Tennessee. But got talking to him, and it sounds like he is just absolutely super busy. He's teaching a class. He's got a baby on the way. Busy with work, and I might end up having to find somebody to finish up what we're doing up there. I don't know when the next time he'll be able to get out there with equipment is and work on what we need done. We got a big old pile of chert sitting in the driveway that I would love to get moved so I could actually pull the truck in further. And with the purchase we made this weekend, I kind of got to be able to park that, especially when I go get material. So I don't know whether I want to figure out how to rent a machine of my own and try to get accustomed to it again. My issue with running skid steer, running equipment, is I've done all of it. I'm very comfortable doing it. It's been years, 5+ years since I've been in a piece of equipment, and it's been a lot longer than that since I've done like dirt work, and haven't done a whole lot of dirt work. A lot of my machine operation and experience is in industrial settings, running in factories, running it in workplaces, and not doing necessarily dirt work. So I don't know if it's a wise choice to rent and do myself, or find someone to come up and kind of finish off what we were thinking, or at least get a quote on that. So it'll be an interesting decision. More dicking around and just wish things would go a little bit smoother on that front of getting contractors in to do some work. So we'll see how that goes. But maybe we'll make a new connection with somebody here more local that has a little bit more time on their hands. So we will see. Maybe my buddy will be able to help us out, though. I don't know. It's kind of in the air now, but running into him and hearing what he's got on his plate was a little discouraging on the timeline. So that's cabin update. Let's move on to next topic. Is a big purchase we made. Hold on one second, guys. We'll be right back. All right. Sorry. Um, next topic I had on the list here is we made a big purchase. I guess shouldn't say big purchase. Um, Good morning, Hunter. Thanks for stopping in. Says ain't nothing like doing donuts in a front loader. Yeah, I've done some sketchy shit in some industrial equipment. It's so I mean, starting way back from when I was a kid, really. My first job, it wasn't my first job. One of my first jobs in high school, I worked at the county landfill. I did. I ran equipment there part time. I was like a part time summer help, so I ran like the big roller, the big steam roller that you see with the big barrels, and I'd run that and help cap the dump. I got to mess around with a bunch of like an excavator and some other large equipment there, just because I was there and I had asked. I also got to run skid steer there quite a bit, and learned a whole lot there. And then throughout the years, it's just been always in an industrial setting and usually a maintenance role, or not necessarily just a line worker role where I had access to equipment and got to run a ton of different stuff. So I've done it. I'm comfortable in equipment, and when anybody ever had to volunteer to run a new piece of equipment, I was always raising my hand because I was excited to figure it out. And it'd give me a couple minutes on the controllers, and I get pretty comfortable with it. So anyway, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind doing that actually, but it's a matter of access to the equipment, and then a bit of time to get back in the saddle, I would guess, and then maybe a little bit of coaching from somebody would help too. But anyway, purchase we made. Corey and I decided that we were done. Well, the first thing that helped us make the decision is we're gonna have to get our metal for the sides of the cabin here pretty quick, and we're thinking. I think it's going to be. I think they're going to be like 14 foot. Some of the longer sheets are going to be like 14 foot, 12 foot, some longer sheets of metal. And when we went and talked to the guy, this is the same place that we purchased the materials for getting the roof installed, and they contracted the people to install it. They delivered all that material. When we were talking to the guy about the metal, he's like, "Yeah, we don't really do a whole lot of delivery on the metal. We can. It's super expensive, but we don't really have any equipment to unload it. I don't have any equipment to unload it, and I'm not going to unload that all by hand when somebody rolls up with a trailer." So we started thinking. We were trying to figure out who we could borrow a trailer from. We had borrowed trailers big enough in the past for different projects. We borrowed one to go get solar panels, and a couple other things. So there was that route. We could have rented a trailer. We found a trailer rental a ways back when we were trying to figure out how to get our solar panels. And that guy, that would have been really nice. He was in the right direction actually for picking up the metal. But the day before I was supposed to rent the trailer, he canceled on me, which I'm not a fan of. So I really don't want to rent a trailer from him. And looking around, there weren't a whole lot of businesses renting trailers out there. So we had that option. We could borrow one, we could rent one, or we could buy one. And Corey and I kind of talked about it, and we remembered when we were on the homestead, when we had our farm up in Minnesota, that when we bought our trailer, everything seemed to change. Like that was one of the times. But a trailer, having a trailer and having the right size trailer just kind of opens a lot of time up and a lot of dicking, and saves a lot of dicking around especially when you already have materials on the list you got to get. so we kind of started talking about it. We were thinking of what size trailer we wanted to get, what we wanted to use. Obviously our truck is big enough to haul quite a bit. We hauled our 32-foot travel trailer with all our stuff in it. So a utility trailer isn't going to be a big deal. We didn't want to buy new. We wanted to buy something quality, but we didn't want to spend a shit ton of money on it. We want to put all the money we can into the cabin at the moment, and so we started looking, started talking. We were shooting for that. Let's see, we're really looking 16-ish to 20 plus foot trailers, 20, 22, 24, different styles we were looking at. And from my experience over the years, both as a person that was loading trailers at a business, someone that was having trailers loaded, pulling them and using them, my preference was to go with a flatbed, with no sides on it. You see utility trailers, most of the utility trailers I was seeing on Facebook, in the used market, in the price range we were looking at, were kind of utility trailers that had the side rails all around them. Speaking and knowing as an operator, they're a pain in the ass to load with a forklift. A lot of things we're going to be getting are lumber and like metal posts, fence posts, rolls of fencing, things that are going to be loaded at a business with a forklift. And just to make life easier for that driver, I wanted just a flatbed, pull in, drop it, and pull out, leave the stuff on the skids and go from there. Definitely wanted pockets on the rails to tie things down. And really that was about it. So minimum footage, we were looking at 16, I think. Maximum, we were up at maybe 20, 22, 24. Tennessee, anything under 20 for personal use really doesn't need tags, doesn't need registration or anything like that. So that was a factor in there. And so we started looking, and we saw a lot that were seemed to be overpriced. The ones that were in are what we wanted to pay were not in the greatest condition, or homemade, and didn't look like it didn't look like it was going to hold up all that well. So we kept looking. This went on for a few weeks. We kind of talked about it more and more, like what our budget was. Did we need to come up on our budget? And we just kept plugging away. And last week, I think it was last week or the end of the week before, found one that was serviceable, that would have worked. And the guy actually had a pretty good sense of humor when he was writing the ad about it. It made me laugh when I read it. Seemed pretty honest and straightforward about the trailer. It was one that he had bought new and had and kind of rode through the life cycle of it. It still had some life in it, and he was selling it at a good price. Talked to him a little bit back and forth on Messenger, and ends up it sold before we could make a deal. He had a ton of interest, and I see why. It was for the trailer. He had it priced right. That's really the problem on Facebook, is you find something that's priced appropriately, and not overpriced for what it is, and it gets sold so fast. So Corey and I kept looking. I was kind of disappointed on that. The next day, I found another one, and started talking to the guy. I was like, "Shoot, I like this. I think it looks good." He actually had a video of it on his Facebook page, on his Facebook listing. It was just what we needed. It was a 18-foot flatbed. A lot of the longer ones we were seeing were dovetail at the end, that had the slope down at the end, and then the ramps. This was flat the whole length of the bed, with also did have fold down ramps. Came with 4 matching tires, and all the tires looked good. All had good tread, and a matching spare that was mounted. Deck looked good, frame looked good. I was like, man, this is a solid deal. Looked at where the guy was. It was like 2 hours away, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to drive 2 hours to go to get a trailer. So I talked to him about the price. He came down on the price a little bit, and I was like, it made it worth it at that point. I was lucky enough that he was willing to hold it until Saturday. I could have run and got it earlier than that, but I wanted to go with Corey on her day off and not spend one of my work days going to get that trailer. And it's always nice to have the company on those drives. Good morning, Pip. Thanks for stopping in. Cheers to you and happy Monday also. And so we took off on Saturday morning, went well, how'd this go? The Facebook listing was a town in Tennessee, about 2 hours away. The day before we were supposed to go get it, the guy had actually marked it sold. He had it held for us. Gives me an address that was not the Tennessee town that he had said before, or that was in the listing. I was like, wait, what the hell? Looked that up. It was almost the same distance away. Just happened to be in a little different direction. So not a big deal. When we got there, everything was kosher. The guy. So we had to go to Alabama. The guy was from Tennessee. The trailer's a Tennessee trailer. He was just down in Alabama. So drove down there, made the purchase, got the trailer, headed back home. Thing pulled great. Really happy with the way it pulled on the way home, the way it looked when we got there. Everything looked good. One thing that a couple things. We're going to go through it here in the next couple weeks, but have to wire up trailer brake. It has trailer brake, so it's got 2 dual axles. It's a dual 3,500 pound axle, so 7,000 pound trailer car hauler. Looks in good shape. The guy redid the lights. When he redid the lights, he didn't wire up the trailer brakes. It's got trailer brakes on one tire, which was kind of nice for me to hear. He said, I didn't need the trailer brakes because I wasn't pulling anything that heavy. I was just using it as a utility trailer, which means to me it probably wasn't beat to shit. So I'm gonna wire up those trailer brakes. I'm gonna put a 7-pin harness on it. Shouldn't be too bad. Should be able to get some decent content footage too doing that. It's pretty good utility skill to have, getting trailers wired up. But basically just going to wire up trailer brakes, put a new 7-pin harness on it instead of the 4-pin that's on it, and check out the hubs, make sure all the bearings are lubed. As I looked at them when we were there, and then again when we got home, they looked in pretty good shape and packed still, and so I'm happy about that. But I'll take tires off, do kind of a complete inspection, make sure there wasn't anything else that needs to be addressed while I get that wiring done. Yesterday, actually, when I was checking it out and looking at the trailer a little more intently, I was back by one of the tire covers. Fenders. That's what it is. Passenger side fender on this trailer. I'm just kind of looking at the frame. I'm looking at the fenders. It looked like it had kind of rusted through, and somebody put a bubble gum weld on it to hold the fender on, which doesn't bother me at all as long as it's not flying off and it's covering the wheels. It's doing its job. But I was looking along and I see a little toggle switch, painted black. Trailer's black. The switch was painted black. I'm like, I knew exactly what it was off the bat, and I was just like, oh, I wonder if it's still hooked up. Hunter says need to rewire the shop trailer, no running lights, and the hazard flash is on, crack on one side. Yeah. Lights worked when we plugged it in on the trailer, and so should be a pretty good rewire. But anyway, the little switch I find this little switch, and I was like, I remember reading about these. So when we were getting ready to take off with the RV, a lot of the discussion in the message boards when we were reading about full timers was about security, about keeping your trailer from getting stolen. There were plenty of conversations about trailer locks, which I had a couple. But one of the suggestions was a switch on your trailer brakes. So basically, when you plug your trailer in to your truck in a 7-pin harness, there's a utility 12 volt. There's a 12-volt line that supplies power to whatever. You can wire it to whatever you want. But what the people would do was run that 12 volt to a switch, and then out of the switch they would run it to their trailer brakes. And if you don't know how trailer brakes work on a trailer, they're usually magnetic. And the controller in the car or in the vehicle in the truck, probably not pulling a trailer with trailer brakes with a car, but anyway, in the vehicle, if you've ever done it, you have a trailer brake controller, either aftermarket or comes with the truck. And when you activate the trailer brake controller, it sends power to the magnetic hubs in the wheels, and it starts to work like a brake on the wheel. Well, what the switch does is when the switch is on, if somebody came and plugged their truck into the trailer, plug the trailer harness into their truck, it would supply power to the brakes. So when they went to go pull away, the brakes are locked up on the truck. To turn the brakes off and be able to use them with the brake controller in the truck, you got to go turn the switch off, which would drop the power to the brakes and you could just pull away. Basically, you kind of hide the switch and hopefully enough of a deterrent from a potential thief that when they go to pull the trailer, the wheels won't spin and they're like, yeah, fuck this. And they just leave it. So that was there. I reached up under the trailer and it's not connected to anything. So I'm not sure if I'm going to hook that back up. Probably will if I'm running the wires anyway and doing the work. But yeah, I just kind of chuckled when I saw it. And then I was trying to think of other things that I could use it for, what it could be useful for. It's just mounted there way back by the tire fenders. And I don't know. It's a good idea. I think it could be a deterrent, but that's all they are. And the discussions on the full-time RVer forums basically said as much, even with trailer locks, hitch locks. It's going to stop somebody that isn't really interested in stealing your shit, because most of the hitch locks that you can get are easily cuttable, especially now that with all the battery operated tools and tools can be portable. You don't have to have power, and basically an angle grinder or a sawzall, and you're going to get through most of the hitch locks that you're going to find out on trailers today. So little deterrent. Somebody sees it, it's a little more work than they want to do. Most criminals are lazy, and it's got to be worth the squeeze to steal it. So I don't know. I was kind of excited to find the little switch and knowing what it was for. So I don't know. What do you think I should what do you think I should hook that up to? That was maybe some strobe lights or something. I don't know. But anyway, excited with the trailer, happy with the trailer purchase. Price was right. Smooth transaction, super good guy over. Find him on Facebook. You don't ever really know when you're dealing with people off Facebook Marketplace how the interaction is going to go and how they're going to be. But very excited to have a trailer. Excited to be able to go get materials when I want to on my schedule and not worry about dicking around with getting somebody borrowing it, renting it, or getting stuff delivered. So that's convenient. Now I just need to get that big pile of rock moved in my driveway so I can get the trailer up there and get it backed around and turned around. So we will see about that. What else on the list here today? Oh, spring. spring is here. It definitely felt like spring this past week. We had temps in the mid to upper 70s, overnights in the 60s. It's we weren't running fire at all. No wood stove fire. Oh man, it's been at least a week. Even a little warm during the day in the camper when the sun was shining on the camper. So excited about the temps. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I think Corey said that she saw some upper 30s overnight temps. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. We got plenty of firewood here to burn up before the end of the season, so we could run some fires in the morning and then just roll with it. So not too worried about the temps. I think we're well past the freezing temps. Hopefully, I really get aggravated with having to bring in like our outdoor shower and turn the water on and off and things like that all winter. So once it breaks and once I get the processing firewood and the in and out of the water, get that off the plate, the stress level drops, because that's all stuff that I would do like before bed, get ready to go to bed and then go out and get firewood and then dick around with the water, bring the shower in, take the shower out and all that stuff. So excited that that's kind of teetering away as I look at the 10-day forecast and not see any freezing water or freezing weather. Another thing that is telling us spring is here is looking around at all the trees. Lots of the trees are starting to bud here. Man, the wild daffodils. If you're in Tennessee and you drive around, you see those yellow flowers everywhere. From what I understand, they're wild daffodils. They're popping up everywhere. The flowers are popping. Trees are starting to bud in all different colors. We go on our walk here. We got white, yellow, red, all sorts of different trees are budding. Grass is starting to grow and turn bright green. And with a huge rain yesterday and a bunch of rain on the forecast for this week and decent temperatures, I think everything's just going to blow up. One of the issues with that is allergies. If you can't tell, I'm a little congested, and it's just going to continue to roll through the spring with man, the flowers on the trees around here are just nuts. But it's exciting to see. I really like this time of year. But it is the prefaces of or the prefaces, is that the right word? Pretty soon my time will be consumed running weed control out at Delinquent's Gully, using a weed eater, cutting down paths, keeping things trimmed up. And man, once it pops off and it starts to grow, it almost becomes a full-time job. But I would definitely rather have the warm than the cold. So spring is here, and along with spring comes planting. Had my friend Carrie Brown from Strong Roots Resources. If you guys haven't checked out Carrie's stuff, you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on YouTube. Strong Roots Resources, great guy. Ton of knowledge. But he was having a little bit of a plant sale. He was selling some cuttings. He was doing some trimming and some maintenance on a bunch of his perennials, and put a post out on Facebook for cuttings if anybody was interested in picking up some cuttings. And another one of our friends that is more local here that goes away for the winter was interested in some of the cuttings. But chatting with Carrie, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I knew when they were coming back. And I was pretty sure the timing wasn't going to work out, that the cuttings would not be viable from the time Carrie was going to be doing the cutting until the time my friends got back. And so I was thinking of a way to help them out, because that's what friends do. And so I talked to Carrie and said, friends are interested in getting some cuttings. They're not going to be back. I don't know where they want them on their property. Are these things that you can plant in pots and root over the summer and then plant them in the fall? And he said, absolutely. So the things that he was getting ready to cut were, let's see. So elderberry. He was getting rid of some elderberry cuttings. He had a whole list of plants. The ones that ended up getting sent here were elderberry, fig, muscadine, and wineberry. Were what my friends were interested in getting. And so he sent them out, and I got a little project going. I got them and got the project taken care of a little earlier this week. Basically, I took a bunch of 1 gallon. I think they ended up actually being 1.5 gallon pots, and taking the cuttings and just sticking them in the pots. I had a bunch of potting soil, mixed it with some composted wood chips that the landowner here has. Sitting out here decomposing for a couple of years. The chickens are loving playing in those every day. And I took a couple scoops of those, mixed those in with my potting soil, kind of fluff it up a little bit. Got all those potted up and got them ready to start rooting. And Carrie had suggested a low maintenance way to keep these watered all summer. It was thinking a kiddie pool, small plastic kiddie pool, put all the pots in there, just keep some water in the bottom. Rain will help fill it up, or just keep it so that there's water in the bottom to wick up into the pots. I didn't have a kiddie pool sitting around. I did have a spare tote from Home Depot. What are those? The black and yellow command totes. Had a spare one sitting here that I was curious if the pots would fit in, and sure enough they did. Everything except one fit right in there, and filled it up with water, and it wicked right up. Was able to top it off, and then we got a bunch of rain the other night, and it filled that tote up. So easy way to keep those plants watered, sitting in that tote. Basically a gallon of water in the bottom brings it up an inch, a couple gallons, couple inches. And that should be good for a while. Just keep an eye on that water level in the bottom. But basically the plan with these are let them kind of sit and root over the summer. And then once fall comes and everything starts to cool off and things start to go dormant again, we'll get them in the ground. We'll pull them out of those 1.5 gallon pots and separate the roots and get them planted. So excited about that. Excited to help some friends. Excited to get back into growing stuff and producing stuff. And these cuttings will end up producing for years and years and years to come. So it'll be great. It'll be great for their property, and maybe I can exchange some of the cuttings once they're rooted, or can exchange it for taking care of them for the year. We will see. So definitely sign of spring there. Another sign of spring is getting your comfrey in the ground. Sales are picking up on comfreyroots.com and over on the Etsy page, comfreyroots.com, where you can get Bocking 4 comfrey root cuttings. Get in the ground, get them started. Comfrey, if you've never heard of it, is just a fantastic multifaceted plant with so many good things that can help on your homestead, or even if you're just in a neighborhood property and you want some cool ornamentals to look at. Comfrey is one of those. It's a big, broad, dark green leaf with fantastic little purple flowers. And the plants get just big, like 4 foot diameter and huge leaves, and they look cool around the house. If you have hostas, if you've ever seen hostas or things like that around your building, then comfrey is comparable to that. So head on over to comfreyroots.com and check that out if you're interested in growing comfrey. Might be still a little early up north. Basically you need to be able to get a shovel in the ground and dig a hole, and then you can plant the comfrey. So check that out, comfreyroots.com. What else do I have on the list here? Let me see. Oh, we're in a war, guys, if you didn't know. How's that going? I haven't even looked. I don't watch anymore. I'm so over the war, the Iran war, and all the bullshit and the reasons we're doing it, and like, just stop. Hunter says, need to order more. Read that plant them next to trees for natural mulching and nitro fixture. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of folks plant actually out in the food forest at DG. We did it, but when you plant new fruit and nut trees, a comfrey root or two next to each one definitely helps. Chop and dropping the leaves provides organic mulch for the tree. The leaves falling off the trees provide mulching for the comfrey plants. And comfrey is what's called a dynamic accumulator. Basically, it sends a taproot way down, straight down, deeper than a lot of plants you're going to plant. And it's pulling up all the minerals that haven't been mined by whatever has been growing there. With the shallow roots, these are able to access more minerals and more minerals down deep, and also water. Man, it's you hear people talk about it, and once you see it in practice, it's different. We had our comfrey out in Minnesota. We had them in rows out in our field, and one of the benefits of the taproot is it goes down so deep that it's able to access moisture. So in drought situations, it's usually a pretty strong plant. And one of the summers after we had our comfrey established, it was really dry up in Minnesota. It didn't rain for a long time. And you'd look out at our field that the comfrey was in, and all the grass, like the hay, the quote unquote hay field, was kind of crispy and brown and dried out. The ground was super dry and arid. The comfrey plants were all green. They were one of the only ones. The tree leaves and the comfrey plants were green. And I could only assume that it was because that taproot was so deep that it was still getting moisture out of the ground, even though when all the other stuff around it was getting crispy and drying up. So definitely drought resistant once it's established. So Hunter and I have done some experimenting with his planting down in Texas to try to make sure that his plants get established and they don't die out during the heat of summer down there. So earlier the better down in Texas and places where it gets super scorching hot in the summer. So any questions on comfrey, I'm more than happy to answer at any time. So you can reach out to me in the Telegram group or info@thelostproject.com or email us or contact form at comfreyroots.com. The war. The war. I'd rather talk about comfrey than the war. Looks like a lot of domestic stuff going on, guys. A lot. I don't know if I should say a lot. I've seen two different reports of stuff since three. I guess it's three now. Since the beginning of the war on Iran, guy in Austin shot up a club. Definitely Iran sympathizer from the reports. I'm never going to say definitely. We know how propaganda works around here, but guy shot up a club. Then coming out this weekend, I think it was this weekend when I saw the news of the plane being diverted because of a suspicious person. Creepy video of everybody in the plane with their hands up over the seats and the stormtroopers rolling on and dragging some guy off. It just looked like, to me, looked like a bunch of criminals on a plane. That's kind of how the police treated it. I'm not sure why everybody just randomly on a plane was forced to put their heads down and their hands up and all that bullshit. I said in the Telegram group, I have no place I need to go fast enough that I need to fly, especially fly commercial. I would probably fly private if I needed to and I could afford to, but flying commercial anymore is absolutely a no-go on my list. I used to love to fly pre 9/11. I loved to fly. I just don't need to deal with the bullshit anymore. I don't need to deal with TSA in the airport. I don't need to deal with the people in the airport. I don't necessarily like to be stuck in a tube with a bunch of people I don't know. And now all this crap with potential terrorism and blah, 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 blah. No thanks. No thanks. I'll drive. I'll drive. I don't have anywhere I need to go other than someplace I could drive. And if I have to be there quicker than I can make it when I'm driving, I don't know. Maybe I don't really need to be there. So that's some stuff going on. Something to keep an eye on. We're I don't know if the propaganda or the propaganda machine's spinning up or what's going on with the reports out of Iran on how it's going, but it sounds like they're bombing the shit out of each other. And China seems to be helping Iran, and Russia seems to be helping Iran. And basically, this is has the potential of spilling over into a global conflict. I don't know. We'll see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and keep working on my cabin. I'm going to go out and keep working on Delinquent's Gully, and I'm going to try to ignore it as much as I can. Gas prices are going up. They are going up around here. I see reports from folks in my Telegram group that that gas is going up around them. So it is going to affect us one way or the other, even if you want to ignore it. It just trickles down, man. So yay, bombing more people. I think the estimate right now I read was $1 billion a day. It's costing the American taxpayer to go blow shit up that we'll probably end up paying to rebuild at some point. I think the best meme I saw was U.S. government using taxpayers to raise U.S. government using U.S. taxpayer money to raise gas prices across the board. Awesome. Anyway, enough of that bullshit. What else? We got a couple minutes here. Tennessee's going to be proposing here. I think Wednesday is cannabis day on Capitol Hill here in Tennessee. They're trying to push through some pot legalization here in Tennessee. This one they're trying again is pot for potholes and earmarking the tax revenue from legal cannabis sales to fix the fucking roads here, which would be nice. I do understand here that there is no state income tax, that funds are lower than other states. But I think they might be dumping the little bit the money that they do collect, not into roads for sure. The roads in Tennessee are crumbling. It is what it is. It's frustrating driving on a lot of them. But yeah, trying to push through some legal cannabis for pot for potholes. We'll see how that goes. I'm guessing that it'll get shot down right away. The whiskey lobby and the private prison lobby here in Tennessee are pretty strong. And we also got to remember we're in the Bible Belt, and nobody wants any of that devil's lettuce around. Even though it seems to be the majority of people are in favor. I would say the majority of people are in favor, from what I read, of at least legalization to where we could gain some revenue from it. But yeah, it's interesting to read. It's interesting to read the comment sections on any pot legalization article in Tennessee, and the old school views, the deep seated reefer madness views are interesting. Especially in a state that claims so much freedom. So many people are moving here for the freedom, and it doesn't play out like that on this front. And there's quite a few other fronts that I noticed. Maybe I'll have to do a show segment about that at some time. All the contradicting views when it comes to freedom and how they play out here. So I'll have to put that on the list. Anyway, we're at 7. I got a bunch of stuff to do today, and I got to get rolling. So I hope you had an awesome day. Be sure to head on over to the Telegram chat at t.me/lotschat. Join up over there and jump in on that Bitcoin guessing game contest. Other than that, I hope you have an awesome week and you get everything you need to done. And we will catch back up with you next Monday.